All right. We're definitely live, and it's definitely Pedro's fault while we're late because he wanted to
Always my
talk.
fault.
It's
Yeah.
it's always no, it's not. I'm not gonna let you
Always.
lie like that, sir. It's not always your fault.
Hey,
It's
we a
me.
team, man. We a
Yeah,
team. So if Hannibal's late, we're both late.
that is true. And you know what? That's a really good segue of the main topic. I'm sure you guys already seen the title. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Pedro and Hannibal podcast. My name is Hannibal. That guy over there is Pedro. We got a really fun show ahead of you guys tonight. Tonight. I was going tonight and today at the same time. Talking about the Geto Boys. Hopefully, I think our demographic, the people who check out this podcast and check out our channel, they know who the Geto Boys is. I think it's a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk a little bit of basketball as well, and and we're gonna talk about something that. Listen, I didn't realize I need to do a hard investigation on memes. We see a meme and then we just like laugh at it and we're like, what happened there? And just came randomly on my YouTube feed, and I gotta talk about it. But first, let's go into some basketball real quick. You guys may not know who Jalen Brunson is. It's okay. You should know him. Yeah. He's on the New York Knicks. He used to be on the Dallas Mavericks team. When I guess the news broke out that he signed with the New York Knicks for $100 million for 4 years. Me and Pedro was just trashing the entire deal. It was like, not trashing it, but like,
you started trashing it, and I just followed because it made sense. But if we look back at the archive, like,
probably
everybody's getting $100 million. Who's this Jalen Brunson guy?
Because I don't understand money anymore. I don't. I really don't know. I'm still on the Kevin Garnett signed $100 million, and that was a mind blowing thing. How long was that ago?
15 years or something crazy. Yeah,
I'm old.
A while ago. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, do people just get $100 million contracts? And yes or no, but it kind of gave me the idea to talk about this because clearly Jalen Brunson is worth the money. Yeah. The guy is dropping 40. Like you said, he's dropping 40 pieces. He is the most consistent Knick player that we have. He's the best point guard since I don't even know.
Ooh, that's that's
Derek Harper.
One.
I don't even know.
Derek
Allen
Houston.
Allen Houston's a shooting guard, so I don't know.
Jeremy Lin was good for a couple weeks.
Yeah, we ruined him. If you listen, I'll talk an hour about Jeremy Lin and what we did wrong with him.
Yeah,
but he's one of the, he's going to be a great player. I think he's an all-star team at this point. I don't know if
he did. He made it as a sub because somebody was either hurt or something. I believe he is all-star. Yeah, and he should.
The dude can play, and it kind of gave me this idea, or at least a question about NBA contracts. I'm talking about free agent signings and contract extensions. How often do the teams get it right? And I really thought about it. And it could be, certain teams are probably better than others, obviously. But in your opinion, if you look at all of the free agent signings, you've been watching NBA as probably as long as I have.
Yeah.
Do the teams get it right in terms of the talent or even the durability? Like, do they get it right or they often get it wrong? Like, what's your thoughts?
Man, good one. I think it's very 50-50. I think we can cite a few recent, big name free agents that did really well. Kevin Durant to the Warriors, Kawhi Leonard to the Raptors. There's various those are the two that stick out to me immediately, right? Because they won championships after those moves that same year. But then there are many others that guy gets overpaid based on something he did, and that free agent contract doesn't work out, right? I think it's pretty split. I think as far as big names, though, you look at what happened with Brooklyn and all those free agent signings, James Harden to the Sixers. You look at certain, still yet to be determined with Kyrie. Kyrie went to the Boston. That was horrible, and we'll see what happens with the Mavericks. We know what happened with the Nets. So I think it's really split. I think a lot of these teams want to win now, so the pressure to sign a big agent and throw money to fill a roster spot's really important. But it's a coin flip. It's literally, I think it's a coin flip is how I would answer that.
I'm trying to think in terms of like all of the signings. Like it is possible, like you may be right, it's 50-50. But these, I guess the reason why I brought this up is clearly there's some really talented executives that know when they see a star and they see someone who could actually play the game at a high level, they can change the trajectory of the season, or just they could be a really good team player, right? They could be a star. Like Pascal Siakam. I didn't think that he was going to, like, they gave him a lot of money. I'm like, really? And then I'm like, oh, all right, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Again, like, this guy he's worth the money. So I looked up some overpaid NBA contracts in the last, I don't know, 25 years.
Oh,
and a lot of them is not based on necessarily talent, but I'll throw some names at you and you let me know if it was overpaid. Mm-hmm. So Gilbert Arenas, 6 years, $111 million.
100% overpaid. He had 1.5 good years, in my opinion.
Is it based on injuries?
Yes.
Or his performance?
Injuries, because you have to be available, right? You have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to be available. And if you're not available, whether it's injuries or whatever, like, that's not a good thing, because in NBA, those contracts are guaranteed, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, if you're hurt, that sucks. It's not as big of a knock as if you're not performing well, but you have to be available. That's part of it for me. So I think at the end of the day that they would say, yeah, we overpaid based on the value that we got on our return, on our investment, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely think he got a lot of money. I think at the time it wasn't a horrible signing, but if you look back now,
well,
what
yeah,
they actually got for that, yeah, he didn't play enough. So
I at the time, I don't remember anyone saying it was a bad deal. I don't remember, because I remember, if anyone remember Gilbert Arenas when he was balling, it was like Stephen Curry. Like, he was launching threes, he was scoring, he was the man. And then he bought some guns in the locker room and he just became made an ass out of himself, and then injuries kind of threw him away. But so most people do mention that as one of the worst contracts in NBA history. Another one, Allen Houston, 2001, 6 years, $100 million in the New York Knicks. And the New York Knicks is going to be popped up a few more times. We just love spending money on players.
Yes, you do. I don't, Allen Houston was pivotal to getting the Knicks to that championship versus the Rockets.
I think it's Spurs, 99.
Spurs, you're right.
Yeah.
Rockets was before. Him and Latrell Sprewell were on the same team, right?
Oh, I love that team.
To the Spurs. That was when Tim Duncan and Robinson and all those boys.
Yeah, we were going to win that one.
Yeah, you're not going to win that one. So I don't feel like that was. He played a lot. He put up, probably, by my guess, he was probably averaging. He was a leading scorer for a number of years, probably putting up 25 a game or so. Underrated, I think, in some regard. I thought Allen Houston was really, really, really good. So I don't look at that one as a negative necessarily.
Yeah, he has some injuries too. I think that's probably what mostly slowed down. He has some injuries.
Yeah.
During it, towards
the one that I can think of. I don't know if you'll mention it. I want to say it now, but to me, one of the worst ones is a guy named Chandler Parsons.
Yes, 4 years, $94 million contract.
Mark Cuban signed him from the Rockets to Dallas, and the dude ain't done. I mean, he robbed him blind. And it wasn't even injuries as far as I can remember. He just did not perform. I think that's one of the worst ones statistically, because he got big money from.
Was he ever balling? Was he ever like, Parsons, we need to get him on a team? Because I don't remember that at all.
Great role player, could shoot the three really well. I think Mavericks liked him. I think they thought he was going to be like a Dirk Nowitzki type because of his size and all that. And it just never panned out.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's definitely on my list. Another Knicks. We love our Knicks here. Joakim Noah. 4 years, $72 million contract with the New York Knicks.
So he got that after he
was balling in the Bulls, where you either loved him or hate him, right? If he was on your team.
Yeah.
And he went on the Knicks and just got his money and was like, I'm done playing basketball.
Yeah.
That hurt. That hurt.
I think he won Defensive Player of the Year. I know at least one time, maybe twice. He was very good defensively, but offensively he was a liability. But he was, he
was like the hustle guy.
Yeah.
But
he shot his free. Didn't he shoot his free throws? Like,
he had a weird shot.
Like that? Yeah.
All right, another one. Rashard Lewis, 2007, 6 years, $118 million.
So he went to, I know he was with the Supersonics.
Yeah, he went to the Magic.
Go to the Magic, that's right. He was with Miami too for a while.
He had a good year. I could at least think he had one good year.
He got him. He was part of that Dwight Howard team that lost to the Lakers in the championship.
Right.
He was on that team. He was good, but that's a lot of money. I mean, you're overpaying. Like, for him, like that, he's a good role player, but that's like number one guy type of money. He's not a number one guy.
But when he was with the Sonics, it was him and Ray Allen, right? Like, they were like Splash Brothers, right, for a little bit, and then they get the bag, and they're like, "All right, I'm good. I'm in Orlando."
Yeah. I'm good. Yeah, and I think that happens to some players, and I mean, I don't know if I could blame them. That's a lot of money. These guys are young. They're 25, 26. Like, what do you do? Like, I don't, you've got the bag, and then now you're in a beautiful city with beautiful women, and like, you're just living a life. So your motivation, you're not as hungry. Right. For some of these guys, they're like, oh, I got my money. I'm good. I'm gonna go out there and just ball and do what I can. But they're not like trying to like take the next step. Some of them,
Yeah. So I'm gonna just continue with the New York Knicks. Wow, we just suck. We just signed everybody. Eddie Curry, 6 years, $60 million for that fat. All right, I'm sorry. I don't want to body shame everyone, but as an athlete, you can't be fat. And he was fat, and he was balling. And again, once you ball and get that money, and then you get those chicken McNuggets and those burgers, and then if you're not working out, if you're not putting in the effort, also he has some. All right, I'm being mean. He did have some personal problems, like I think either a death in the family. So I'm being a little jokey, but he was supposed to be the dude.
Well, and that's another bull. He was drafted. Him and Tyson Chandler were drafted in the first round the same year by the Chicago Bulls, early 2000s. And these guys were supposed to be the next guys after Jordan, basically, right? And Tyson Chandler had a nice long career.
He's a good role player.
Eddie Curry he did not take care of his health.
Flamed out. He
flamed out. He went to the Knicks, and not good.
All right, another Knicks one, because it really shows how awesome the New York Knicks are. Jerome James, 2005, 5 years for $30 million. I don't think he ever played well after signing. Like the moment he signed it, he never played well. Yeah. He never. It didn't make any sense. Just because New York Knicks have tons of money, it just doesn't make sense why we just throw the money to everybody. Jerome James had one good season before he got the contract. I forgot what team he played on. I forgot to write that down.
Miami, was it not? I thought
he did well in the playoff series. It kind of reminded me of what Jalen Brunson, but obviously he's more talented. Jalen's way more talented. He balls out on a playoff stage. It's national. People recognize him. It's like, damn, and his contract, he's a free agent. Sign him, and that was disastrous.
Well, I feel like so for me, the Knicks, Carmelo Anthony, obviously that was a big free agent signing, the biggest one they've had, in my opinion. Yes. And I think overall, it's, some people would say negative because he never won a championship, they never made it to the finals, but he was that guy, and he put up big numbers. And then they got Amarius Stoudemire. He was also kind of hurt, but he came after he had success with the Suns, and then the Knicks get him, and like he had some moments, but they could never really do anything. So
they had like maybe good 2 seasons, maybe.
Yeah, the Knicks have had some good signings, but like not overall, they signed a lot of guys that did not do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, it looks like the Knicks are probably the worst signing. So maybe you're right. Like maybe there's some teams that got it right. Like maybe they're 50-50. Knicks are below that, clearly.
Yeah. Sure.
I got
Brunson. Let's talk about Brunson. I mean, Brunson so far is a great signing. Would you not agree?
No, that's the one that why Dallas didn't keep him. Now they got to overpay for, and
Kyrie.
It's overpay because you don't know what you're going to get from Kyrie. Obviously, Kyrie is more talented than Jalen, obviously, but you don't know what you're going to get with his attitude and his injury prone. You don't know, but you have basically like a top 3 player.
Yeah,
but you don't know what you're going to get every night. Either he's going to be upset about something.
It's a wild card. Like they could either go to the finals and maybe even win, or go in the Western Conference Finals deep run, or they could flame out in the first round.
Completely flame out,
or whatever.
So I think, and I've seen some conversations about, who's the man on the Dallas Mavericks team. Now everyone is saying, the coach, the owner, it's Luka's team. But if you saw that last game, the game before, where it's a last-minute shot, and they started playing hot potato with the ball because, Kyrie threw it to Luka. Luka threw it back. And then Kyrie did some weird thing where he tried to throw it inside, got taken over. They both don't know who's the man. Now, it's still early, but Kyrie thinks he's the man?
Well, course, right? But let's still Luka's team. I've said it a couple weeks ago. And Luka's very clutch. So I think they're just trying to, see. But it's Luka's team, hands down.
I'm not disagreeing, but does Kyrie believe that?
Oh, who knows I don't know. Kyrie doesn't know what Kyrie believes. He's a flat earther. I don't think Kyrie understands, and I think he's just very.
He's like, I want a championship. I can score 60 if I want to. I can shoot, or I could do everything he can do. It's just I'm not as tall as Luka.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we'll see how that works.
Who do you think's
out.
a better player right now? If you had to take one of those guys on your team, who do you
Luka.
think's better? Luka. Yeah, I think most people would say that.
And I
over
do not
90%
like the
of the NBA
complaining.
execs.
God, he complains a lot.
He does.
Complains a lot. But he wants to play ball. He loves basketball. I don't know if Kyrie loves basketball. Or at least he does, but he loves himself as well.
I think he loves
some of
himself and his ideals more than the game. And I think there's nothing wrong with that because he's, those ideals that he has and the things that he really, really matter to him are going to be here around longer than basketball will. Your body gives out and he's going to, live more of a life without basketball than he will with it. So I get it, but that's what you get with Kyrie Irving. That's what, it's a coin flip.
And he's not going to be overpaid. At this point, his talent, you have to give him money. So even if he gets the big crazy contract, I don't know. I guess you could argue he's overpaid, but the talent, he probably should be getting 40, 50 million a year. I mean,
I think if I'm a, excuse me, he's going to get 30 to 40 a year, but it's going to be on 1 and 2 year deals. You're not giving him $200-300 million like you're going to see Morant get and Luka and Giannis, these younger guys. Zion, if he stays healthy, will get a big one. But long term, you're not giving that to Kyrie because it's too much of a gamble. It's too much of a risk,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that works out in as they get into the playoffs. Yeah. So there's 3 more I want to mention. 2 from the Lakers. Luol Deng in 2016 signed a 4-year, $72 million contract. Clearly, he was on the backside of his career, and the last person or last team to know was the Lakers. Right?
I think he went there when Kobe was still there.
Yes.
And he came from the Bulls. So the Bulls, another Bulls got team again from the Bulls to the Lakers. And he was a good player. Really good player, but they gave him a lot of money. They gave him a lot of money.
And this is the hilarity of the Lakers. In the same season, I don't know if you know who this guy is. Timothy Mozgov. 4 years, $64 million.
He came that's after he got paid. Because he won a championship with LeBron in Cleveland, and he had a pretty good finals, and he got paid off for that week and a half of basketball.
Listen,
and I know
get the money, right? Like if I was able to play like a magician for like a week, and I have money for the rest of my existence, effort. They could say it's overpaid. They paid me. So
wherever he's from, he could buy half the country or whatever.
Probably. I should have looked up. It's somewhere in Europe, I'm assuming. Yeah. And the last one, I don't know who this person is. Don't remember. This is back in 1996. So
give me the team. Give me the team that he went to. Maybe I'll tell you.
Seattle Supersonics.
He went. So the Sonics paid him. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. 7 years, $33.6 million. So this is 1996. That's a lot of money.
What year was it? 96?
96.
96 to Seattle.
He only played 97 games over 3 seasons with the team.
It wasn't Def Left Shrimp, was it?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. He was good. Okay. I don't know who it is then.
How dare you? I don't know who this guy is. Jim McAveen.
Who?
Maybe I should look this person up. Jim McAveen. They gave him a lot of money for us not to know who the hell he is. Give me a second. Let me write this down.
Jim McAveen.
Yeah. Is this a real player?
Is that a tennis player? Jim McEnroe?
No, McEnroe. Oh, white guy. Give me a second.
Well, of course he's a white dude.
Why he's so it could have been a dude. I'm gonna play it right now. Give me a second.
I'll probably know him when I look at him.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'm gonna load up right now. He does look
I remember
familiar.
This guy. I remember. He's a center, I believe, right?
Oh, it's one of those tall, uncoordinated dudes that got a big bag, and then apparently the man only played 97 games with over
how many million? 30 million?
$33.6 million.
Crazy. Wow.
I did not know who this man was. He looks familiar.
I've seen the face, yeah.
But in 1996, you giving him that much money?
So he would have been around when they were competitive, though. That's when they had Peyton and Kemp and went to the finals around. So they were probably just trying to build that roster. And that's
money. But I'm assuming a lot of that times they're fighting off other teams, either to match or exceed, or just to F with them. It's like, we're gonna sign that guy. You better sign him before we do. It's like, oh, got him.
Yeah.
Now, Appreciate you guys for coming through. I see a few guys. A few people always appreciate you guys. Alamo City Dan says I'm going to say Durant. So I don't know if that's a joke.
It is, I think. Yeah.
He's not my guy anymore. So you have at it. What's up?
He's with the Suns, man. The Suns are. I still don't think they're going to win a championship. I just can't trust Chris Paul. I think he'll get hurt or something. And I think Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, who knows how that'll work.
If Chris Paul load manages, like, okay, stop playing or play very little. When KD comes, let him just get to the
just play for
and
the
then jump
playoffs?
in, second round.
Yeah,
I think they can win because usually that's what happens. Chris Paul breaks down towards the playoffs. Yep. Usually after the first round, he just starts breaking down. Load managing him. He's getting older. Let Booker, let Durant take the bulk of all the offense. First of all, who's going to stop Durant? Who's going to stop Durant? No one, right?
Nobody does at any point.
You still got that tall dude who doesn't like playing basketball, but he's tall. He got paid. You still got DeAndre all in there. Oh, that was that pick and roll, pick and pop. Well, not pick and pop, but pick and rolls. You got Booker. It's possible they win a championship this year.
They could. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised, but who's
going to beat him in the West?
You already know who I'm going to say.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
I'm going down with the ship. I think the Mavericks are going to go to the finals. I believe it. I still believe it. Even if Kyrie doesn't, it could be. Even if Kyrie doesn't do whatever, like listen, and Denver still, I don't like Memphis. I think they're still too young and immature.
Yeah.
Denver.
Denver could be there, but for some reason, Denver they get there, but they still no confidence that they can take it to the next level, right? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think, if I had to bet money, I would say the Suns.
Yeah.
Now, Luka owned the Suns before KD. KD is not. He's going to handle Luka. He's going to handle him. Luka,
for me, I think those guys wash each other out.
Yeah,
I think they just going to probably score about the same and have the same similar.
You think Luka's going to defend KD?
And not about defending. It's about the productivity of each of those guys and what they give to their team. Right. So they're not going to defend each other a lot, but I think they just cancel each other out. So then it goes to Kyrie and Booker.
Okay.
I think Kyrie's a better player overall.
Yes.
But right?
Booker could ball. He could ball. I don't know if his production slides during the playoffs. I think he maintained it, right? I don't think he did a Harden where you don't know where he went.
He's pretty good, yeah. So then it's like, then it's Chris Paul and the next best Maverick, and who knows? I think Chris Paul, if he's healthy, they have the advantage there. So I would lean towards the Sun as far as on paper, but I don't know, man. We'll see.
But you gotta go down with the ship. You said that's your dude.
I called it in the beginning. That's what I'm gonna go.
That's gonna be a really fun playoff series.
Oh yeah,
because there's already a lot of bad blood there. Yeah. KD loves trash talking, even though he has no history. He'll just start talking shit. I'm excited for it, even though my team is out. Listen, I got Cam Thomas. We got a decent future. We got to get rid of
Cam Thomas is balling. He's going to be one of the guys we talk about next year that gets big money. And it's like, where'd he go? That's what's going to happen with Cam Thomas.
Listen, we got to keep him. I think he fits Brooklyn. He don't like smiling. He says like slick stuff all the time. That fits Brooklyn. Hopefully he enjoys playing here. But the dude can score. Like, he's just a scorer.
But we weren't talking or thinking about him in the beginning of the year, and there's a reason for that. So I don't think he's going to be dropping 40 pieces all year. It's just not going to happen.
Well, you're saying like some players who play really well on like a team that has no, like, not saying a bad team, but Kevin Love, right? Kevin Love used to be like dropping crazy stats.
Oh, with Minnesota?
And then I was like, because the team was terrible and no one thought anything of him. And he was just there because he's the best player on the team. So I don't know. I'm seeing Cam. His skills. I think he can play. I think he'll be fine. So we'll see. Yeah. Ben Simmons is freaking god awful. Trash.
This guy.
But let's just jump into the Geto Boys situation. So I'm gonna show a little bit of the conversation. So if you guys don't know, I think we had Nomad Gig Mom. She didn't know who the Geto Boys were. Legendary rap group in the you can go 80s, 90s. Scarface, Willie D, rest in peace to Bushwick. And legendary group. And I didn't know they had a podcast, but they have a Geto Boys called Geto Boys Reloaded, I guess, talking about their times and all that, being in the industry. And this conversation did blow up 2 days ago, where Willie D is basically expressing a lot of anger and frustration with Scarface because during the Grammys they had a hip hop tribute, and Scarface performed a Geto Boy song. Willie D wasn't there. And Willie D was like, listen, how you perform a Geto Boy song and I wasn't there? Why I didn't get a call? Why you thought it was a good idea for even to pursue this? Yeah. Willie D had a feeling that he was getting pushed out in that situation. And I'll give it credit in this podcast. It's two grown men talking it out. Not necessarily like aggressive, like they're fighting each other. I'm sure they're brothers. But Willie D was really talking about like, yo, this is like how you do this, like why you didn't hit me up or stuff like that. So I'm gonna show a little bit of that conversation. And let me know when you want me to stop it so we can talk about it. And I would like your opinion, like what do you think is who's right, who's wrong in that situation? Because Willie D has performed Geto Boy songs without Scarface.
Now, so they both done it.
But the problem is, or at least the context says, this is the hip hop tribute at the Grammys compared to being at a club in Houston or something like that. Like there's a level to it. But some people still say no, it doesn't matter. You performed it no matter where you was. But let me show a little bit of that conversation real quick, and then you could give me your thoughts. Actually, it'd be better if I had sound on it. Okay, cool.
A moment that's capsulated in history. A moment that people ain't gonna never forget. Now I understand that it was short time, but here's where I'm at with that. For something like that, for you to sit across this table from me weekly and knowing that you finna go to the Grammys and perform that song.
Let me hold up time out.
Okay.
I didn't know I was gonna do that song.
At what point did you know?
When I got there.
Okay. So all right. Okay. So you know you was.
Hold on. I think they're going a little too fast. Give me a second. Like they don't talk that quickly. Okay.
There you go. You didn't know you was gonna perform a Mind's Playing Tricks.
I had no clue.
But when you found out, did you even think to say, man, this is a big moment? I'm performing the Geto Boy song, something that me and Willie D wrote. Yeah, I wrote 3 verses, but Will wrote 1. He was on the song. Mm-hmm. He is a Geto Boy. They want a Geto Boy song. Did you think for one moment to say, yo, Will, even if time was running out on you, you didn't think for one moment to say, man, let me just at least call Will and let him know what's going on. It ain't cross your mind to say that?
It didn't cross my mind, Willie. It didn't cross my mind.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe shit.
I'm just saying.
Believe
I'm just saying, man. I don't believe you, bro, because I know you smarter than that.
Well, I didn't. Think
I know. No.
And you do a lot of thinking, bro. It's so much shit going on.
A lot of thinking.
And it's so much shit. Let me tell you something too. So it's so much shit going on, Willie, until I don't know if you got the call or not. I don't know what's happening with you on your side of it.
Come on, bro.
I don't know. I don't know who handled your business. And as a matter of fact,
if the Grammys call about me doing something for Geto Boy, I didn't even know that the call was. I didn't even know that the call was for sure until that Wednesday, that day. You knew. If
I did not know.
Listen, okay, let's say you knew that day. And here's the thing.
Okay, now time out. I know every motherfucking thing. Now, how does it change it?
How does it change?
Yeah, it's over.
Well, what
the motherfucker gave me the whoever the producer was gave me 4 bars. That's it.
Well, it wasn't 4 bars.
What was it?
I think you did 8. But in any event, that's the
can you pause it for a minute?
I mean,
4 measures.
Yeah.
So these guys have a podcast, right? That they do on a regular.
Yes. Geto Boys Reloaded on YouTube.
And it sounds like he's basically really saying, why didn't you tell me? Like, right. Why? I would think that would be a conversation that would come up. So that's kind of odd. That's the first thing I think of, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I at least at the podcast point. And then I am surprised at how Scarface is reacting to Willie. That he wouldn't immediately at least say, or at least in a partnership, like, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah, like apologize a little,
or, and I know you can finish this if you want. I'm Scarface.
Ooh, let's listen to a little more.
Listen.
And then we'll get into it.
Gotcha.
Okay,
whatever it is.
So how does it change? How does it? You said how does it change it?
Yeah.
How does it change anything that we talk about on a daily basis? Like we talk about a lot of shit, and how does just us talking about what we talk
what's
about
the end all,
changes?
Really? What's the end all?
What
I didn't know that I was doing my mind playing tricks on me for one, and for two, ain't nothing I can do about it now. The shit is over with.
Yeah, the shit is over with. But the end all is for me to express to you how I felt about the shit you did. That's the end all. And you know what? Not just what you did, but the Grammys did. The dudes that
the shit that I did, Willie.
So this is what I'm saying. So you don't see nothing wrong with going up on that stage and performing a Geto Boy song by yourself. You don't see nothing wrong with that. Like hold on. And we're talking about at the Grammys for a 50-year tribute. Now listen what I'm saying. First of all, let me say this.
It's all my fault.
But let me get this. But let me get this out the way.
No, you win.
No, let me get this out the way. No, I'm gonna speak on it.
I shouldn't have got on the plane. I shouldn't have went to the Grammys. I shouldn't have got on stage. I shouldn't have rapped that song. I shouldn't have walked off stage.
Scarface is getting a little defensive.
He's
getting defensive. You could tell they've had these conversations before. Like this is like brothers, family, kind of like wife and husband, where the wife is hitting you with some shit that's right, like hitting you, and the first thing is like, all right, it's my fault, even though that's not.
You're just like, all right, you win. Like,
you win, and Willie ain't trying to hear that because he knows you bullshit.
Willie seems a lot less emotional too. He's actually, at least for me, looking at this couple minutes we've watched, he's just asking questions like, "What's up?" Like,
and I think Scarface kind of in the back of his mind,
knew
that he may have messed up. Well, we'll finish this one, and I think I saw, Garden State. If you listen to a lot of Willie D's podcasts, he complains a lot. There's a lot but in this situation, we'll finish it up real quick.
And I shouldn't have got back on the plane and came home. It's all my fault, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna speak on this though.
Yeah,
I'm gonna speak on it. So you ain't finished.
I'm so fucking glad that they called me, Willie.
I'm gonna speak on it.
I'm so glad that Quest reached out to me to do that motherfucking song, bro. I'm happy about that shit.
I'm sure
man.
you are.
I'm glad people got a chance to see me, man. Because people don't really get the chance.
I'm sure you are.
They don't really get a chance to.
Nigga. So
you a selfish ass nigga, Willie. So. You way more selfish than me.
I would have never done no shit like that.
Well, I don't know, bro.
I would have never done no shit like that. The moment was too big, bro. The moment was too big. I would have never done that. And let me say this. But let me say this, Brett. I don't give a. Let me tell you something. And let me finish. I really don't give a fuck about the Grammys. I don't care about none of them gatekeeping ass niggas, none of that shit that they do. What I care about is the Geto Boys. Like when we decided to do this podcast, I did this podcast for the sake of the brand. I didn't do it to say.
I did it for the sake of the brand.
Okay,
also.
so I didn't do it.
Actually, it was my idea to do this shit. I
understand.
You to do this shit.
It was your idea to do it, but I had to agree to it. So you didn't do it by yourself.
That's what I'm
so
saying.
we're doing. That's why it's called Geto Boys.
The brand too.
But that's why it's called Geto Boys. So I said, okay. The reason why I had my own podcast shit going on already. It was already doing big numbers. So it took me. I built that brand. I built the podcast brand with Willie D Live. I built that. And so when we decided we was gonna do this right here, I brought my audience like over here like this. So my thing was like, let's grow this thing and keep our brand going, keep it strong, keep it alive, keep it going. You didn't have to do this. I didn't have to do this.
I got a question. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Do you think the Grammys just wanted Scarface because he is the draw? Do you think they were, and what the part of the song that he did? Obviously, he didn't do the whole song. I'm assuming it's a snippet.
He did 8. At least Willie said 8 bars.
So did he only do the part that? Did he only perform the part that Scarface had in that song, or was he performing?
So, yeah.
Right. So I think Willie's got a point. I think if anything, Scarface, the least thing he should have done was reach out, like, "Hey, I got contacted by the Grammys. Hey, I told them I'm, you doing it with me." And I'm sure if Scarface said that, they probably would have figured it out, right?
Yeah.
So that's where he I think he at least needed to reach out. And even if he couldn't get Willie on there, he should have reached out and said, "Hey, they asked me to do this. I just want you to know." and they just want me to do my part, but I want you to know before you see it, like this is going to happen. I think probably Willie, I would assume, probably would have been at least okay with it, but I think he's a little bitter. Maybe he's complaining, but like I think he has a valid reason to say, hey, why didn't you at least reach out? Why am I, why was I left out? I get that part. You know what I mean? But
Bobby says it's ironic that they're arguing about the Grammys. One of their songs is called F the Grammys. Yeah. And Willie said, I don't give an F about the Grammys. He is mad with him to a point where he's calling by his name. He said, Brad, I'm trying to talk to you like Brad. Like this is beyond the names of, the characters or whatever. And I guess Scarface is mad that even been brought up. It's like, it's not that serious. Or why are you even upset about this? I need to go and call you about everything that I'm doing. And Willie is like, yo, we're a team. Like, this is a brand. Like, I'm sure they're not performing. It is a little interesting. And and then they call each other selfish. Yeah, whatever. I'm sure that's just.
Who do you side with right now? Like, if you had to pick a side and you're sitting at that table, who are you rocking with in this?
All right. When you see the Geto Boys, who are you who you care to see?
Scarface. I mean, clearly, I think
Scarface.
Yeah.
I mean, Willie D's the man. Like Willie D, he did his thing. What's that movie? Was it Heartbeats? He's like, no one came to see you, Otis.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
Willie is right. Scarface should have reached out to him, so even if he didn't care.
You're on Willie's side of the table.
A little bit, because first of all, as much he is being, he's not getting defensive like Scarface. You could tell he was hurt. He's hurt. He's like, damn. We decided to do this podcast together. I didn't have to do it. I was doing well with what I got. And so he's basically saying we have a business relationship. Yes, we may not be performing anymore. So it's not like I ain't talked to you in 5 years or we only text and then that happened. Like we talking on a regular basis. They called you and you just did it. And he's supposed to be okay with that. And he's not.
Yeah. I think though it's almost like, can you imagine? So the Grammys is wanting to honor and celebrate 50 years of hip hop, right?
Yes.
And they're trying to show a new era of the history of rap, right?
Yeah.
And some of these even the young cats are going to know who, to your point, they're going to know who Scarface is. He's the draw.
So
it's almost like the Grammys like, let's put Scarface on the stage, do your thing, do your 8 bars. If they got another guy standing next to him, people are going to be like, who's that guy? Right? I think a lot of these young people will be like, I kind of know who Scarface, who's that guy?
Yeah.
And, so you could obviously they could do the bit without him, but I think Willie has a point. But, if I'm Scarface, I think it starts when you got to at least reach out. They obviously have a relationship, whether it's personal and or business.
The business, I'm sure they're getting paid for this podcast. So it's a business relationship. Yeah.
So you got to let your guy know. Like if Hannibal blows up and he winds up doing something and he doesn't like at least tell me about it,
it'd be weird.
I'd probably be like, dude, what's up, man? And that's what I would say to him. Like, what's up, man? Like, what's going on? But
and I'll say, no one came to see you, Pedro.
Well, right. And then I'd be like, well, what are you talking about? Like, what are you So I get Willie's standpoint. And I think, a lot of things in relationships is communication, whether it's with your friend, your significant other, your kids, you got to communicate. And I think Scarface dropped the ball in the communication. And that's why it's an issue.
Yeah. Bobby says Willie D has aged well. Scarface has lost weight. Scarface had like a life-threatening issue. I forgot what it was, but he was going through. Yeah, I forgot. It was something life-threatening.
They both look good. I mean, they both. Yeah.
But you could tell it felt like a marriage couple. Like, when someone your significant other got you, and you're like, oh right, I'm wrong. I should have never on the plane. And then Willie, he ain't not letting it go. No, we're gonna talk about this. We ain't gonna let this go because he knows that Scarface don't really feel bad about it. And I don't know if Scarface is, like you said, trying to shield him from, I'm Scarface.
Yeah.
But you should watch the entire conversation. They go back and forth. They got to a point where Willie D said, every time a Geto Boys album was dropped, you drop a solo album right after it.
Ooh, so
I don't know what that meant.
Little history.
But what does that even mean? Like, of course, Scarface has legendary albums.
He's the draw. I mean, he's, and I don't know enough about the group as a whole, right? I know more about Scarface, right?
Yeah.
But and Willie D obviously has contribution.
Yeah, he helped write a lot of those songs. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But Scarface is Scarface, right? I mean, I'm trying to think of another like hip hop group or trio or whatever duo that would be similar. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I guess maybe like Cash Money back in the day. Like remember the BG guy? BG was like a contributing factor, but it was or Little Turk, I think it might have been, right?
Yeah.
But like the main guy was Juvenile and then Lil Wayne. Like in hip hop groups, that's what you have. You think about Wu-Tang. Yeah, like, each guy is very good, but there's a couple, Jizza's not the best. Inspector Deck has a couple great bars and some songs, but he's not the draw. It's Method Man, ODB.
And it's not even necessarily like a talent thing. It's just the draw. Like whoever the people want. Bobby saying, Scarface could write. He was the Ice Cube with the Geto Boys. And that was a good comparison. Ice Cube is one of the greatest writers. Like the dude, he doesn't get enough respect of the ability to craft the songs that he did.
But Ice Cube wasn't the draw.
Well, eventually he did. Eventually he became the draw.
Well, I'm saying with NWA, who was the draw? Who was the main guy? Eazy-E, right? Don't you think?
Well, I would say the swag and first of all, he's the only guy that was like legit, like a gangster dude. And Dre was the guy who putting the beats together. Mm-hmm. Benjamin has a good point, or at least a fair point. I feel this conversation should have happened in private. Putting Scarface on blast is a little bit shady.
Yeah, but Benjamin, they got a podcast and they need to get views and all that. So I'm not surprised.
You could tell Scarface was uncomfortable with the conversation. He didn't want to talk about it. And I don't know, is he hiding, or does he really want to say, I'm Scarface, man? Like,
well, if he says that, then it really becomes an argument, though, probably.
Yeah.
Right? I think he's holding, if he's like looking at Willie like, really, man? Like, I'm Scarface, stop. Then Willie's going to be, get on the attack, and then it goes sideways. So I think that it's actually, he's thinking in his head.
He's trying to shield that. And Willie, I think, in Willie's point, I think he is correct. We're a team. This is a brand. A conversation should have happened. I don't know if Scarface didn't want to talk to. He may have legit just didn't think of it. And Willie's like, no, you're lying. Like, how do you know he's lying?
But think about this, man. How do you not think about it at least? You have to have a thought about that.
Yeah.
I don't believe I could say if these guys didn't have a relationship anymore and hadn't seen each other in years and there's no communication, I think that's different. You're not thinking about it because that guy's not in your life. Right. These guys have a podcast. So I don't know how many episodes they do, but they're probably communicating at least on a weekly basis. Yeah. Okay. So you got to think about that. There's no way you don't think about that. And if you don't, then Willie's right. You're selfish. If you literally don't think about the guy that was still alive, and you guys have a podcast called The Geto Boys Reloaded or whatever, how do you not think about that when somebody's asking you to represent the Geto Boys at the Grammys? So clearly he had to have a thought about that.
You know what? I'm trying to argue for Scarface because I love everything he's done. I mean, but The Diary, The Fix, I mean, it's just legendary albums.
Legend.
It's just the idea that you're still a team there. They needed to communicate. I think that isn't. I bet you it was Willie D's idea. It's like, no, we're going to talk about this publicly. He wanted it to be public. I think he probably didn't want to have a private conversation.
I don't. They had a good conversation. It didn't go crazy, at least from
no.
What I saw.
It's passionate. There's two grown men. Obviously, they care about each other. Willie I think, was bothering him is, damn, you think Scarface was like, yeah, you know what? My fault. But Scarface like, it happened. It happened already, Willie. What you want to do?
He's dismissing him. I think when you dismiss and don't acknowledge, it makes the other person even more hurt by it, right?
Yes.
Because like you said, I think if Scarface like, you know what, man, like that's on me. I got excited. I didn't, I wasn't thinking or whatever. Like you should have been a part. You should have been a part of that. That's on me. Willie probably is like, you know what, I can get that. I can respect that, man. But he didn't. Scarface was like, nah, forget you. Like, I didn't even think about it. So then Willie's like, you didn't think about it, So
you're lying.
Get that part. Yeah, you're lying. You're being selfish.
I think like you said this before earlier. People want to be acknowledged. It don't seem like it doesn't matter how much success you have done. Like you said, Willie has done great with the podcast and obviously with the Geto Boys. We all want to be acknowledged in one way or another. And when something blocks that acknowledgement, it hurts. And you could tell for that Willie D was hurt from that. So, what you guys think? Put in the comments below. Obviously, I thought it was fascinating. And again, it's a full hour and they going back and forth. And they love each other. Like it's all love. It's just
yeah.
I think hopefully Scarface, he was a bit defensive, but after that conversation, realized he should have made a phone call or a text message.
It's
email a dude. Like if they I don't know, the old dudes, I don't know if they email each other, but a text, a call. Hey, Grammys, I know you hate the Grammys, but this is what they threw out at me. So what do you think?
Yeah.
Scarface is like, I'm on the plane, I'm out.
I mean, if anything, you know, when I think of the Geto Boys, they're obviously a significant group, right?
Yeah.
But can the story of hip hop be told without them? I think it could, right? I think you could tell the story of hip hop without them. I think if you add them in, it obviously adds more to it.
Yeah, especially from where they came from, because they're the ones that kind of push in that Texas, like that's
hip hop.
Yeah, that them UGK. Yeah, they're connected, but yeah, just communicate. I think that's a learned lesson. Just communicate, even if you think the person may not care or may not care. Talk, because you know what, they do care. They act like they don't care, but they do.
People care. People care.
Yeah, definitely. All right, before we end this, I want to talk about this meme. Let me see if I could find. Damn, I think I had the picture.
You know what's funny about memes is like memes were obviously more prevalent years ago, right? As compared to now, because I think how we get information is just different, and TikTok and this and now.
I think we're all memed out. I think
we're memed out, but like, you sent me the clip of the meme or the picture, and I remember it because there's this meme game that me and the kids used to play years ago, and it had like different memes on, and you'd have to like describe it anyways. And this was one that was like it was one of the cards, and I remember where it came from, but maybe you're saying you don't remember or didn't know where
I did not know. So you may have had a little bit more information than I did, because so I see this, usually it's, someone's crying, and if you hear the voice, I'm not going to play it because it's very raw and
very raw and
loud,
very raw
and painful. But I did not know who this guy was, or you just saw the meme and I just moved on with my life. And just so happens that I checked out a YouTube video and I watched it. It was like 17 minutes. And I was like, damn, you really don't know any, like I just had no idea. So you guys know, this was a championship boxer by the name of Rocky Lockridge.
Oh, I didn't know he was a boxer. I didn't know that.
Boxer. So let me tell you a little bit. He won the WBA championship super featherweight title in 1984. He knocked out Roger Mayweather, the uncle of Floyd, in the first round.
So featherweight's like 115, 120.
Yeah, it's when Floyd came out, they're small dudes, but knocked Roger. Rest in peace to Roger Mayweather. He could box.
Yeah,
knocked that dude out in the first round. 1984. I was born in 84. Wow. He won the IBF title in 87. Finished his career with 44 wins. 36 by knockout and 9 losses. So the dude he was aggressive fighting style, powerful left hook. He was probably putting people out pretty easily. Yeah. But obviously in this situation, things went in a whole different direction in his life. And that's what the video was talking about. I'll probably put the link of the video. It's called Rhythm Boxing YouTube channel. I watch a lot of those documentaries on sports. And
there's some great boxing documentaries. Some of these boxers, man, the way they grow up and what they got to do, like these stories are amazing, man. I watched some of it. Probably not as much as you, I'm sure, but these boxing guys they're built different, man.
Yeah. And the issue was after his boxing career, he struggled with addiction, homelessness. He was just all messed up. Had a stroke for way too long without any kind of medical help. To a point where he lost the use of one of his legs, so he had a cane, and he was just so strung out that the show Intervention, which I don't watch because it's super sad. Like I don't watch Intervention. It's
emotional, man.
Yeah,
I've seen some.
Heavy.
It's very heavy and very sad. Yeah,
very sad. So this episode was in 2010. He didn't see his 2 sons over 15 years. So the reason why you see him crying like that is during the intervention. The 2 sons are like crying, saying you weren't there. What happened to you? And the one, like during the intervention, he is stoic, he ain't saying a word. He's not angry. He just got that stoic face. And the thing that got him was one of his sons said, no matter out of all this that you put us through and all the things that's going on, and I don't even know you, but I still love you.
Mm.
And that's when he starts, like, he totally broke.
Falling. He just starts like uncontrollably
uncontrollable cry, rage, kind of like you could tell he held all of that in.
When you see a man like that, when you see a man cry, it hits you different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
At least for me, it really gets you, you know?
Yeah. It really, like, you can tell he had decades of pain. He knew he messed up. He knew he should have been there for his sons' lives. Didn't see his sons in 15 years. Like, how's that possible? But he was so strung out that's when he started crying and just had that wail of anger and sadness. So there was a line in that YouTube video that I thought was really powerful. He said, let me look it up real quick. It's talking about the meme or the crying. It said that boys made fun of him, but men understood. And I was like, yeah, yes, but at the same time, we didn't know. If I knew
you don't know
exactly,
you don't know the whole context of what you look at a meme and it's like you want to make fun of somebody because it sounds odd,
funny.
Right? It sounds funny, but when you have when you have it all built up in your body and you have your son, your seed you haven't seen in 15 years talking to you that way, like it just comes out, and that's how it came out for him. And he had health issues, so it's not going to be normal, and it's very sad. But most people didn't understand, like Hannibal saying, he didn't know, like, who is this guy? I know him as a meme, right?
And he kind of knows. When you see someone crying, it's probably a good idea. At least it's like, oh, what happened? So now it's not funny. It's not funny. I mean, even if you hear that, if you just told that person the story of why he cried, because there was shame in there. It was rage. It was sadness. It was like,
shame is a good
wow, I really didn't. I effed my life up. And these two kids, and the fact that his one son said, "I still love you."
Yeah.
Despite that, like, he probably rather than say, "I hate you."
Well, right? It's easier to hear hate because you expect it.
Yeah.
What you don't expect after knowing that you've maybe haven't been around, right? For whatever reason, it's still a lot of shame in that. But to have your son tell you, "I still like," it hits, man. It hits you as a dad. Like that's that's all you really want. You want to make sure your kids are good, but it's very sad. Now, I had seen that clips of the episode, right, that went along with that meme, but I didn't know he was a boxer because I didn't watch the whole episode. I just seen that couple-minute clip of that interaction and hearing him cry like that, right? It's crazy, man. Like being a dad can be tough, and this guy's a boxer physically. Probably had some pills and things he had to cope with drugs to, so like everybody has a story.
It's a dangerous sport. I tell you, I know we talk about football, and yes, football is extremely dangerous, and talk about MMA, but boxing, you're not meant to get punched in the head that many times.
No, you're not.
You're just not. Like you're not supposed to do that.
And you're getting punched in the head, even if you have headgear while you're training.
Yes.
So it's tens of thousands of hits over a course of a lifetime, maybe more, and repetitive. Ones that might not knock you out, that your brain is literally moving in the skull, and that's not supposed to happen.
No. I mean, I know we, still watching boxing every once in a while, and you see the CompuBox score.
Yeah,
that's hundreds of punches.
Yeah,
to the body, right? To the head.
And most of us have never been. Most people haven't been punched more than once or twice. Yeah. These guys are getting punched for a living,
Yeah, I remember doing one class. I couldn't afford to keep going. I probably should try it. And we all had gear, and I was getting punched in the face. And I was like, yo, this sucks. The fuck am I doing?
How long ago was this?
This was a long time ago. It was doing like kickboxing classes, but it was only boxing. And clearly this person they were there a while longer. So you don't know how to fight until you really get in and realize the speed and head movement and guarding. So it was like a practice, and I was getting hit and I was like, yo,
doesn't feel good, does
it? It just wakes you like, oh, whoa, wait, what's going on? Oh,
yeah, for sure. I think for me, and this might, come off a certain way, I think you don't really know yourself in some regards until you've been punched in the face.
Right.
Okay. I think, and I've been punched in the face a few times, many times, and it don't feel good. but after a while, you learn how to like kind of cope and deal with it, you know.
Right.
But it's not fun. But some people like it. Some people get off on that fighting and the pain.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a point. It doesn't affect you anymore. I remember watching Brock Lesnar. So Brock Lesnar was a beast, and obviously he went back to wrestling, but he was beating up people in the UFC, got a championship and everything. When he realized he had to do the stand up, and he was fighting better competition, and they were punching him in the face, he didn't like it, and he would turtle up a little bit. And that's the reason why he kind of went back. And he was almost 300 pounds, pure muscle.
He's a massive man.
But when you meet another massive man that can strike, and you getting hit upside your face, and you never been trained properly, and you're just not comfortable getting punched in the face, that's why he kind of tailed down towards the end of his career and had to go back to wrestling, because he was getting punched in the face. He couldn't handle it. And that's a big dude. And another line that Tyson says, right? Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Until they get punched in the face, yeah.
Boxing, it's a dangerous sport. But I think it's good to even, I love boxing, and oh yeah, I forgot to say this, but Rocky Lockridge passed away in 2019. But before that, he did clean up his life a little bit. He was going on the right path, so he kind of at least ended his life on a positive note.
He had some peace, and him and his sons were able to, like reconcile some of that relationship. And I think that hopefully he had that for himself and them,
Yeah, definitely. Nomadic Gig Econ Mom says, I love boxing. Yeah, I mean,
love it.
I know it's kind of weird and carnival like now. You got the Jake Paul brothers at this point probably getting paid more in boxing than anyone else. I don't know. I know, Tyson Fury's still out there. Wilder, he's around. Like I am not on boxing the way it used to be, because I think
heavyweights aren't there. It's just not that. These athletes now are playing football and basketball, right?
Yeah.
So whereas before you had some guys from the cities or wherever, like they were boxing.
There were gyms.
You wanted to be the next Ali or Frazier. You wanted to be the next Tyson, and gyms everywhere. Now it's the UFC's trumping that. It just kind of took over,
And the problem is with UFC, because I don't know how much it costs to be in a boxing gym, but it probably wasn't going to be as expensive. When you want to learn like the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and all this other stuff, you're spending about $150 to $200 a month. Most kids in the inner city cannot afford that kind of money. So what they rather do, play basketball.
Yeah.
And then if they're really talented and they can get their, football, right? Those are cheaper than learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where you got to spend $150. That was back in when I was doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely couldn't afford it. Now I probably could, but I'm sure it's probably $200 a month.
Oh, sure. I mean, it depends if you're going to get a special trainer, and it's
then that's
well more than that, right? But the thing about basketball and what's great about it, you don't need money to play. You get a ball, or if you don't have a ball, you show up at a court and you run fives. You can play for free. You don't have to. You can do it outside. That's what's great about the game. But with other sports, you got to have equipment. You got to have other people. Basketball, you can play by yourself, right? Boxing, you can't box yourself. You can shadow box, but you got to get punched in the face to see, right?
Yes.
So that's what's great about basketball, is that you don't need really anything or anybody or money, and you can figure it out,
Yeah. Hopefully I still don't see the future. Like the future in boxing, you're going to have, your big prize fights, but now how often does that happen? Back in the day,
big fights are the Paul brothers. It's all pay-per-view now.
Yeah. And, I know you say you don't call them box professionals. I guess they're prize fighters. They're fighting for money, but they're not professional. At least they're not at professional level, because they're smart. They're not fighting professionals. They're fighting other amateurs. And if a UFC or MMA fighter goes to play, fight boxing, that's an amateur boxer.
Yeah.
Because in mixed martial arts, you have to learn tons of other shit rather than boxing. Well, this guy just boxing. So they're smart on how they handle it, but who knows? Like a big boxing match, like what's the next one? I can't even tell you. I couldn't tell you. Like,
I know that I think one of the one Fury brother is supposed to fight somebody. I know Canelo is supposed to fight somebody, I think, kind of soon. But even then, couldn't tell you the other guy's name.
Yeah, Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury.
Yeah, I think that's one
that's on the 25th,
and that will be one of the bigger ones as far as viewership and money revenue coming in because of the name. Yeah. And that's unfortunately that's where we're at right now. So
that's where we're at. So, hey, listen, we still got some good basketball. We got some playoff or at least Yeah, playoff basketball coming up soon. So, that's what we got right now. And then obviously football just ended. But
we'll have a NCAA March Madness coming in a few weeks. I don't follow college basketball as much as I used to, but that's always a fun time, getting a bracket, all the games on Thursdays and Fridays. So we'll definitely get into that a little bit too, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you'll be talking most of it. I don't watch a lot of college ball, but if I have to, I will make up some shit.
I mean, both of us are really good at making it up as we go. So I think.
Oh yeah. That's a talented skill. It takes a while to bullshit, but then when you do it, it just starts flowing, and hopefully someone understands what the hell you're saying. But
hopefully the few people that watch to get it. So yeah.
Fair enough. We did not talk about the top 5 female. I think I forgot about that. The top 5 female rappers. We'll get into it. Maybe Monday. Or we'll get into it because it's both top 5 female MCs all the time and top 5 hottest female rappers.
Well, and I think I'm glad you mentioned that because Iggy Azalea was at the game and she gave Jalen Brunson a hug. And
what was she doing there?
I don't know, but she looked.
How's she able to walk in the damn court just as if she can just do that?
Good
I know you was hating.
Brunson. I was hating, but now I like him because he's over there hugging up, dropping a 40-piece, hugging up on
in New York City in the Mecca, just chilling, just dumb. Yeah, listen. Props to Jalen, bro. We're sorry, Jalen. We didn't know. What did Shaq say? I wasn't familiar with the game, and now we are.
Now we're familiar. I think Iggy Azalea is about to be familiar too. So
yeah. She definitely like those black guys. All right, guys. On that note, have a good weekend. Have a safe weekend out there, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.